Hi, welcome today to Artsphere 1969 Live. And today I'm Alice. I am not talking about cooking. Today I'm talking about T-shirt upcycling. So what is that? I'm sure many of you have plenty of T-shirt, in your cupboard, right? Multicolors, and sometimes you just don't wear them anymore, right? So I have my children have T-shirts, okay, and they tell me that, Mommy, all these T-shirts we don't want really. Can you just give away, okay? So I look at it. Sometimes they are quite nice, and also some of the design are something that I still quite like. So I find that giveaway a bit sayang. So what happened was one day I happened to be at a CC event, and then somebody shared about T-shirt upcycling. Wow. So definitely this thing I didn't start it, but because somebody shared with me, so I learned something and I thought that it's very useful. Okay. So what I did was I look at all those T-shirts that I have and then I practice what I was taught. Okay. So I have done 2 YouTube videos which you can go and look under our Artsphere 1969. Those 2 video that I did, I thought I shared with you all how to upcycle the T-shirt. That is, okay, let me just show you. It was a T-shirt like this, all right? A big T-shirt. I normally don't wear big loose T-shirt, okay? And then I upcycle it. So you can see it's actually completely different, okay? Different to what the original form was. All right, if you go to the YouTube, you can see the design, okay? So I have shared how to handle the collar, the sleeves, and then cut the design. And then I also have shared about braiding, okay? You can see some of the braiding here, right? I've done some braiding here. And also, I mentioned that the next time when I share, I will share how to give a waistline to the T-shirt, okay? Now, this is what I'm going to share today, okay? You can see this T-shirt was actually this size, okay? Just straight down, all right? So, like I mentioned before, I normally prefer my T-shirt to be fitting. So I learned how to cut and tie. So there's actually no sewing involved here, okay? So let's see how we go about, all right? Okay, let me just share. Okay, sometimes there are T-shirts where you have designs that you like to keep. So I will just do the tying at the side, okay? But of course, there are some T-shirts where you also like to do the cutting from behind, okay? So that's, you can always try, you try the side first and then you try the back, okay? Right, so how to start? Start with the T-shirt lah, okay? Yeah, all right. Don't laugh. Okay, yes, I do have a live audience here. Actually, what you can do is, if you are really very keen to learn and do for your T-shirt, you can always bring your T-shirt here, and then we can always have a session together. Because sometimes video, you don't see the details, So it's better that you come here, and then you can join me in the T-shirt cutting. So just drop us a note that you want to come, so we will give you the address, okay? Or you can PM me at 97864986, okay? Right. So today I'm going to use this really old T-shirt. It's a little bit spots already. So what you do is you practice with the T-shirt that you don't like so much first. Then from there you can move on to your favorite T-shirt, okay? Previously, I will always cut the collar first, and then the sleeve, and then the end of the T-shirt. All right, I will cut it out so that the material is softer. Right. So we can do that later, right? Okay. You want to have the waistline. How small your waist is, it depends on, up to you, okay? So what I did was I took one of my favorite tank top. This one not so obvious. Okay. This one so straight. Okay, never mind. This one after you wear, of course, it's fitting, okay? So what I did was I just put it on top of my T-shirt to cooking and sewing and handicraft also same, agak-agak, okay? So I just line it on my t-shirt, okay? So I agak-agak know that my waistline is somewhere here. So you can either use the fabric chalk, okay? If not, you use your colored pencil also can lah. But if you want to use a colored pencil, then probably you can turn the t-shirt inside out, do it on the inside, okay? So I just draw, all right? I draw lines. Okay, the width that I do for my t-shirt, yeah, you can see here, okay? It depends on how thick you want the gap to be. It's entirely up to you. If you don't want to tie so much, then you do broader. But if you want it to be more fine, then you do smaller, okay? So, but I suggest probably you can do 2 finger spacing, okay? So I will draw first and then agak-agak lah, okay? So the waistline area, you cut deeper in, all right? And then the hip area, of course, the hip is broader, right? So we cut a bit less, okay? So this one I'm going to agak a bit more here. Now, if you don't want to mark, you want to just cut like that also can, which I used to do that, okay? So cutting, you just draw. Okay, so this side I draw, the other side will just cut, okay? Right. Get a good pair of scissors. Actually, nowadays scissors are so cheap, okay? Because if your scissors is not sharp, you find that you cannot cut through and then the edges are jagged, all right? So, start. You can start from anywhere, but please don't cut your own favorite top, yeah? Okay, so I think I can go a bit deeper for this t-shirt. It's quite big. Maybe 2 finger spacing is a bit broad, so I think I would do 1 finger spacing, all right? So just cut. Oh, yes, I forgot to mention one thing, okay? Some t-shirt has got the seam, all right? Like this one has. Okay, this t-shirt has got a seam here. Okay, so if the seam is there, we need to cut off the seam first. Then it's easier to tie later, all right? So pardon me, right? So, but some t-shirt, they are like this one here. They have, oh yeah, okay, this one has got seam. Some t-shirt has got no seam. Then you don't have to cut the rib out, okay? Let me see. I think you all know, like some t-shirt really don't have seam on. If there is a seam, we just cut it out, okay? Don't see that one with the rib. Okay, come, let me do the cutting of the seam first, okay? Just lay out your t-shirt, make sure it's flat, and then we just cut. Okay. Okay, I realized from my experience that when we do cutting, the more we open up the scissors and cut, the more jagged the edges will be. So we try to minimize the numbers of cut. Okay, right, this way, try to do big, what do you call? Big strokes. Okay, this way, strokes like swimming like that. Okay, 1. So actually the bigger scissors will be better, right? Okay. Oh, don't throw this away. They are quite useful later. You will find out. Okay. So right now, back to my cutting of the slits. Okay. You always cut a bit less. Then if you find that you want it fitter, then you cut more. Of course, if you cut a bit too much, then the t-shirt becomes very tight. Then you cannot pull through. Okay, then you cannot undo. Then you have to do another pattern really. Okay. Anyway, there's no right and wrong in t-shirt cutting because anything that you find that you do, you think that is not fitting, you can always change the design later. So design changing, we will explore along the way, okay? All right, so now cut. Oh, I made a mistake here. Okay, don't worry if you made a mistake. Like, for example, this one is broader than the other one. Sometimes after tying up, you can't tell very much, okay? So just cut. And if you want your waistline area to be smaller, then you cut deeper. So it can be a little like a mountain shape like that, huh? Where the waistline is smaller, okay? Okay. I do find that when I cut the slit smaller, with more tie, the little ribbons at the end is actually finer, okay? Then, of course, if you like, you can always cut away the thick bottom piece. Okay, just cut this off because we don't need this thick part. Right, 这个不要啊。Okay, so you find that the edges are all very soft. Okay, you can either tie first, then pull, or pull first, then tie. So from doing my piece in the afternoon, when I did this one, I find that because what I cut is very short, so when I want to tie, it was a little bit challenging. So I decided, okay, I just show you one, okay? If it's short, when I tie it, I can't crisscross. So what I did was I decided to pull it first, okay? Oh, okay. Also one more thing. Some t-shirts don't respond to pulling. So they do not narrow up, like this. So those t-shirts, if the texture like those dry fit we can't do cutting. We can do cutting and tying, but they will not become, you cannot pull it to so fine, okay? So the design will be different, right? So sometimes you just have trial and error, then you know what kind of t-shirt material is good for doing cutting and tying, okay? Even though this one cannot pull until very narrow, but I still can tie it a little bit more challenging. So just tie a dead knot, okay? You see, still can, right? All right, so I will just tie all the way down. Okay, just show you a few, okay? Just two knot, okay? Two crisscross, so it will not come out. Okay. Right. So you just go all the way down, okay? Very simple. Yeah. Now, of course, since it's a live show here, I would not expect you to wait for me to tie all the way to the end. Right, so I will just share with you what I have done previously, okay? Also remember, please get the matching level of the ribbons that you are tying, okay? Don't tie number 1 and number 5 together, then you have one gap at one lobang in the middle, okay? So just look carefully. Okay. Right. So we do exactly the same for the other side, okay? So after you tie all the way down, okay, this is what you get, okay? From the very big size t-shirt, you will find that your t-shirt now has narrowed down, okay? So let me put side by side, before and after, then you can see, okay? Okay. Right. So this is the size of this t-shirt before I cut it. Okay, once you finish cutting and you tie it, it becomes narrower, all right? So that's where you have this waistline, okay? Right, if I put it on top, would you be able to see better? Okay. And also you realize the length of the t-shirt has come up. 短一点, so you don't need to bother about trimming the t-shirt too much at the bottom. All right. So you see from here, it has moved in. Would it be better if I put a black t-shirt, then you can see? Right. So the size of the t-shirt is big like this, okay? It was like this. And after cutting, yeah, can see the difference better now? Okay, so you can use this method for making your t-shirt smaller. Okay, so this one is by doing it at the side. Okay, like I mentioned before, you can always do it. You can use the same method, you cut at the back. So how do we do it at the back? Okay, if you're going to use the back, so what you do is, of course, you choose the t-shirt that you don't have a design that you want to keep behind. So you put the seams together. Catch the seam together, then you get your midpoint. So here you put the shoulder join here, right? You see? So this is how you get the midline, okay? Then the same, just cut downwards, all right? So you start with smaller cuts first. Then when you are more familiar as how much you want the t-shirt to be tightened, then the next time you can do deeper cuts. Or you can use the same t-shirt. If you cut so much, then later you find that you want it tighter, you can always untie it and cut deeper. If you don't want to untie it, you can still cut further, which I will show you all later, okay? Right, so this is the same. You just cut all the way down, and then you tie. So your t-shirt will become a bit smaller, all right? Okay, so what happens after you cut the t-shirt? Then you realize that there's a lobang here, there's a hole here, right? Okay, there are many ways to treat our sleeves, all right? Like I mentioned previously, I always like to cut away the seam here, all right? So after you cut away, the sleeve will fall softer, all right? But this one I left it on, okay? So you look here, right? See, it falls softly, right? Without the seam, okay? So what I did, right? I cut away the seam at the side, line them up together so you can cut in just one screw. But anyway, even if they don't line up properly, it's all right, okay? It doesn't matter, right? Like I say, design is always individual, and whether long or short, or one side different from the other side, nowadays it's called your own design, so it doesn't matter, okay? Just cut them up. Okay. Right? And then there is another seam here at the bottom. I will also cut it up, okay? All right. I'll show you what it means by if you don't do one long stroke, you do small little cuts. You may have jagged edges, okay? For example, if you cut like this, and then you cut again, small little strokes, okay? You find that the edges are actually jagged, all right? You notice there's one little, there's a little gap here that's uneven, all right? So never mind, if that happens, what we do is we always trim them away, okay? But of course, sometimes it's very difficult. we are not those professional tailor. They just and everything is cut. Yeah, you see, there are some jagged edges here. So what you can do is just trim them. All right. Okay. Right. Okay. So, so the sleeves is now open up. Okay, then I can do one more tie here. Okay, I can just do, because the sleeve, this goes this way, so I can do, put them together. I can just cut. Right. Okay. I can show you. Okay, now I can, the other one is not so elastic, so okay. I will pull it first so it becomes longer. Can you see? Right? So from the rectangular cut, once you pull it, it becomes longer and thinner. So this is easier to tie. Okay? So, right. Okay. See, much easier, right? Rather than the ones that didn't, it's not so elastic, so more challenging to tie. Okay? Ah, I pull too much. It's much thinner than the other side here. Okay, when you pull, you try to pull at the edge, right? So that you won't have those, how to put it, very blunt top, all right? You pull at the edge, so it tapers, all right? You can always pull one side first and then pull the other side if you want to. But normally the other side will just curl up, okay? So, right. Now, after I tie up, I realized that there is actually one jagged piece here, okay? If you want to leave it, it's okay, because when it falls, it can be a design itself. That's why I say there is no right and wrong in t-shirt cutting, because it's always your individual design. Nobody can criticize and say, how come like that? I like it, what, huh? Okay, so here, if you don't mind, you just leave it, okay? But if you want to, you can always shape, trim it so that it's level, okay? Can you see this part here? So I can trim it up if I don't want, all right? And please, if you trim, if you want to, you can trim the other side as well. But like I say again, if you don't want to, you can just leave the other side with a sharp edge, yeah? So it's all right. It's your own design, okay? So now, all right, you see, I need a model to put it on. Okay, never mind. Just trim a little bit more, okay? Right. Okay. So this is my sharing for making your t-shirt a little bit smaller by tying it at the side, okay? And how you can handle the sleeve. Of course, the collar here, if you like, you can always cut it off, okay? And also you can either just cut through this shape, or you can cut following the actual collar. That means you have a higher back here, all right? And of course, if you have a higher back, the good thing about it is that next time you want to wear your t-shirt the other way around, you have another design. Oh, so the collar is higher, okay? But if not, the collar, if you just cut it the same, that means like that, you just cut it, follow through, then your front and back will be the same, all right? So it's entirely up to you, okay? And of course, the sleeve, we can always do design to it, but we'll keep it for the next session, okay? All right, so this is my sharing for the t-shirt upcycling made easy, right? So I have one piece here, and then the other piece, I just want to share with you. The last time when I cut the collar, I cut it a bit too low. So always remember, whatever you cut, always do less first, then after that you go along. But still okay, right? Because I can always put a tube inside. So this is by itself another design, okay? And like, okay, this sleeve you see here, I didn't do very much to it. Actually, this top, what I did was I follow this piece here, okay? I follow this tank top, and then when I cut the strap, I cut it exactly the same. But what happens for this kind of t-shirt is the longer you use, the narrower it becomes. It becomes so thin that I think it was going to break. So what I did was I took the t-shirt, the previous t-shirt, then I cut the sleeve out. And then of course this one I did a little bit of sewing, you know, so I sew the sleeve back. That's why you have this sleeve. Familiar, right, from any other t-shirt, right? Okay. So the good thing about doing our t-shirt upcycling is nothing is wrong. Everything is your own design, and there is no mistake. Then you can always make things up. Okay. So I saved this piece by giving it 2 sleeves. So it's a design by itself, right? Okay. I hope you have enjoyed this session here, and please do your own cutting and then share with us. Okay, you can post it to Asphere 1969. And of course, you are welcome to join us here, because seeing and actually hands-on is really different, because sometimes there are little differences. So here we can hands-on, and then we can always try different things and make good whatever we have here. All right. So I see you again next session in 2 weeks' time, and we will explore designing, okay? Because most of the basics you can see in the YouTube video and what I've shared today. So next week we explore doing different designs, and of course making correction, okay? Like for example, some of the cuttings that I did previously, it became thin and then it was going to break. So what can I do with it? Okay, I see you the next session, all right? Okay, please go and try, yeah? Right, bye.